Janvi had always been a talkative girl, but today she wasn't just talking. She was talking like a storm that had forgotten how to stop. Anyone who saw her walking through the college gate that morning would have thought she was rehearsing for a talent show where the judges only cared about speed, volume, and confusion. Her hair was a mess, her shoelaces were half tied, her backpack was open, and her mind looked like it was trying to break the world record for maximum chaotic thoughts per minute. She entered the courtyard at 8:04 a.m. and by 6 a.m. she had already spoken more words than most people spoke in a week. People watching her whispered that she must have gone crazy, but Janvi didn't even notice. She had more urgent matters. Her brain was overloaded, her heart was racing, and her thoughts were behaving like caffeinated squirrels running in different directions. The truth was simple: Janvi had been awake all night, the entire night. Not because she was studying, not because she was stressed, but because she had fallen into the black hole of watching a Korean drama that had 28 plot twists, 17 emotional flashbacks, 6 misunderstandings, 3 evil mothers, 1 dramatic accident, and a final that made her scream into her pillow so loudly that her brother woke up thinking there was a ghost in the house. She had cried, laughed, paused, reanalyzed, Googled the actors, read fan comments, created theories, then panicked because she suddenly remembered that her scholarship interview was only 5 days away and she had done exactly 0 preparation. Her brain got overstimulated and all that energy exploded as words the next morning. So there she was, walking across the courtyard with the speed of a tornado. When she reached the bench, she found Ruhan sitting with his psychology notes. Poor Ruhan, who had hoped for a peaceful morning, did not stand a chance. Janvi slammed her bag onto the bench and started talking. Ruhan, you won't believe what happened. Actually, nothing happened. But it feels like everything happened. I swear the moon was judging me all night. Then my mom woke me up, but I was already awake. Then this dog on the street barked like it knew all my secrets. Also, squirrels are spying on me today. And you know what? Clouds are dramatic. Diramte, why do they look so emotional? They look like they're in episode 13 of a heartbreak arc. Ruhan blinked slowly. Like a computer that needed a restart, he opened his mouth, but Janvi didn't give him even 3 seconds. And listen, what if I forget everything in life? What if my interview goes bad? What if I fail? What if my brain stops working? What if the universe wants me to move to a mountain and become a monk? But I can't be a monk. I talk too much. I'll get kicked out. They'll ban me. Students walking by slowed down to listen. Some frowned, some tilted their heads like confused puppies, and some pulled out their phones to record her. Janvi continued without breathing. And that Korean drama. Ochi, the girl forgets Iverway Taiji except her enemy's birthday? Why only that? My memory is exactly like that. Last week I forgot my own phone password, but I remembered my teacher's car number plate. Why am I like this? Am I broken? Ruhan finally closed his notebook because there was no chance of reading today. The more Janvi spoke, the funnier she became. At one point, she claimed that the birds were gossiping about her. At another, she insisted the universe was sending her signs. She blamed the sun for being too bright and the wind for being too rude. She said her emotions felt like 25 buses trying to fit into one tiny parking spot. But underneath all her humor was something real. Janvi wasn't crazy. She was overwhelmed. Her scholarship interview mattered. Her dreams mattered. Her expectations mattered. The pressure she carried was invisible to everyone except herself. And because she had suppressed everything for too long, her mind had burst like a shaken soda bottle. After 30 minutes, yes, she talked nonstop for 30 minutes. Her voice finally slowed. Not because she was done talking, but because something inside her began to ache. Her words softened, her shoulders slumped, her eyes lowered. She whispered quietly, Rohan, I think something is wrong with me. Rohan didn't laugh this time. He didn't tease her. He looked at her carefully, patiently. He saw past the chaos, past the messy energy. He saw the tiredness. He saw the fear. He saw the pressure she didn't share with anyone else. He placed his hand gently on the table, not touching her, just placing it there, and said, You're not crazy, Janvi. You're overwhelmed. And when you don't talk about things for too long, everything spills out at once. That doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you're human. Janvi looked shocked, not because of his words, but because someone finally understood her. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned, and for the first time that day she became silent. But the silence felt different this time. It wasn't the silence of fear. It was the silence of someone who had finally been heard. After a long pause, Janvi whispered, I'm scared, Ruhan. What if I don't get the scholarship? What if I fail at everything? What if I disappoint my family? What if life keeps getting harder and harder? He smiled softly. Then you'll get back up, because that's what you always do. Janvi blinked quickly, as if trying to erase tears before they could fall. She hated crying in public. But today she felt her chest loosening. The tight knot inside her was slowly opening. For the rest of the day, she stayed quieter than usual. Not silent, just peaceful. She attended classes, took notes, and tried to focus on breathing. She avoided social interactions because she feared people would tease her for the morning outburst. But something unexpected happened. People didn't tease her. Some girls from another class told her, You were so funny today. You made our morning better. A guy from the science department said, Your energy is awesome. Don't change. The chaiwala told her, Beta, you talk fast, but at least you talk honestly. And slowly, Janvi realized something. Everyone had messy days. Everyone had chaotic thoughts. Everyone said weird things sometimes. Everyone laughed, cried, panicked, overthought, and acted silly. Maybe she wasn't abnormal. Maybe she was just expressive. Later that evening, when she reached home, she went to her room, lay on her bed, stared at the ceiling, and took the deepest breath she had taken in months. She decided to stop pretending to be perfect. She decided to stop holding everything inside. She decided to be more honest with herself. At 9:18 p.m., she opened her notebook and began preparing for her scholarship interview, not because she was pressured, but because she wanted to try. For the next 5 days, she worked hard, not crazily. Not obsessively. She practiced answers, watched tutorials, read articles, and even asked Rohan for mock interviews. Her confidence grew like a small plant watered consistently. Finally, the day of the interview arrived. She dressed in a simple kurta, tied her hair neatly, stood in front of the mirror, and said, I'm enough. When she reached the interview hall, her heart raced. But her mind didn't feel chaotic. She sat in front of the panel and answered questions with genuineness. She didn't act perfect. She didn't pretend to be emotionless. She spoke with honesty, vulnerability, and clarity. The panel listened. They smiled. One of them said, You're different from most students. You're sincere. Janvi walked out of the hall with trembling hands, unsure of how she had done. No results. During those 3 weeks, Janvi didn't obsess, didn't panic, didn't overthink. She lived, she laughed, she studied, she watched dramas, she joked, she breathed. And then one morning, her phone buzzed. A new email. She opened it casually. The next moment, her eyes widened. Her breath stopped. Her hands shook. She screamed so loudly that her mother dropped the plate in the kitchen. She got the scholarship. The same girl who was talking like a crazy person just weeks earlier had achieved her dream when she reached college that day. Without Warren sitting at their usual bench, warning, she shouted. Ruan stood up instantly. I go tea. He blinked, speechless, then burst into the biggest laugh she had ever heard from him. See, didn't I tell you? You're a hurricane of chaos, but you're unstoppable. Janvi laughed until her stomach hurt. She felt lighter than she had felt in years. She finally understood that expressing emotions didn't make her weak. Speaking too much didn't make her crazy. Being dramatic didn't make her wrong. It made her alive. And when she looked at the sky that day, she smiled and whispered, Thank you for not judging me today, clouds. That afternoon, she went home, sat at her desk, opened her diary, and wrote, Sometimes I talk like a crazy person, but sometimes crazy people are just people who feel too much. And feeling too much is not a problem. It's a gift. That was the day Janvi stopped being afraid of herself. That was the day she embraced who she was. And that was the day she realized that life, no matter how messy, always becomes beautiful in the end.